Welcome everyone to another top 10. I'm Old School Gamer 1971. Millie, Lloyd, everyone, hope you're all having a great day. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please like, comment and share. Check out my channel and subscribe, as it helps the channel grow and puts a big old smile on this old face. Today's top 10 is Shoot 'em Ups 2020. This was the first genre in games I ever played. It was the wholesome trio of Asteroids, Galaxian and Space Invaders. Oh, and I nearly forgot Battle Tank. These sounds and visuals are burned into my brain. I can remember walking into an arcade and knowing what machines people were playing. Galaxian was my favourite. I put so much money into that game, it's not even funny. At 10p a go, I spent hundreds of pounds. You could just spend hours taking out wave after wave. Later came the likes of Gallagher, Phoenix and Centipede. Maybe not in that order, but around the same sort of time. Time Pilot, Bosconian, Defender and Space Harrier. The list just goes on and on. I do not want to think how many pounds I ploughed into these games. Home computer became the cheaper option. There still is new games in the genre releasing today, looking amazing in some cases. So let's raise a glass to the genre that started it all for me. And so we start off with my number 10, Ultratron. Came to the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 in 2015 and was developed by Puppy Games. This game is an updated version of Robotron 2064. Robotron is one of the first twin stick shooters. Shoot enemies and rescue survivors. Robotron is the forerunner to the likes of Smash TV and Loaded. Robotron is part of arcade history and remains one of Williams' biggest earners to this very day. The first time I played Ultratron was on day of release because it's just fantastic. It's Robotron with power-ups. Moving on to number 9, Tempest. Came to the arcade in 1981 and was developed by Atari Inc. I have played this on so many different systems over the years. This is testament to the popularity of the game. Arcade, Amstrad, Spectrum, Commodore 64, BBC Micro, Amiga, Atari ST, original PlayStation and PlayStation 4 come straight to mind. Using vector graphics, at the time it was groundbreaking. First time I played this was on arcade, St Margaret's Bus Station arcade to be exact. It's now a shop. Number 8, Titan Attacks. Released for Windows in 2006 and was developed by Puppy Games. This is a more advanced version of Space Invaders. I do wish that this was the original Space Invaders, however. That is not to bash this game, just that the sound and graphics to me is classic arcade. It's the sound of the arcade. That hum is unmistakable. I do hope that we will see more arcade/console compilations in the future. Just make sure that Space Invaders is one of the first, okay? The first time that I played Titan Attacks was on the PlayStation 3 on day of release. My number 7, Centipede, came to the arcade in 1981 and was developed by Atari Inc. I can remember this as both a joystick and turning knob arcade cabinet. I was okay with the joystick version, not so much with the alternative controls. This was another game that seemed to get a version on everything. Again, another title that is part of arcade history, different to many of the other shooters of the period in graphics and how it played. The first time I played this was at an arcade on Humberston Gate. Moving on to number 6, Dead Nation. Came to the PlayStation 3 in 2010 and was developed by Housemarque. I got this day one for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. Housemarque made some outstanding arcade shooters. Now they've stepped away from the genre, apparently working on a AAA PlayStation 5 title. Its roots do lie in Robotron 2064, popping zombie heads, blowing them up, or teaming up to decimate a zombie horde, this game is just fun. The first time I played this was on day of release for the PlayStation 3. Number 5, Asteroids, came to the arcade in 1979 and was developed by Atari Inc. This was the first game I played with vector graphics without realising that it was vector graphics I was looking at. This was so different to any shooter I played before. It's shooting the asteroids, breaking them down, getting smaller and smaller until they are nothing. It is a game that I've never had any flair for, but the sound and graphics are classic to me. The first time I played this was at Whale Island NAFE. My number 4, Galaga, came to the arcade in 1981 and was developed by Namco. For some, this is the loading game for the original Tekken, originally an arcade cabinet, an advancement of the Space Invaders game. They attack you in waves, and once you learn the pattern, the easier the game becomes. Again, one of the classics. I was so pleased when this got a PlayStation 4 release. The first time I played this was at South Sea Pier. Moving on to number 3, Space Harrier, came to the arcade in 1985 and was developed by Sega. Man, the first time I played this, I played the hydraulic machine first. They did make a still version for smaller arcades which just paled in comparison. This was a first for me and was my favourite among all of them. Hang On and Afterburner come to mind, but they're just not as good as this. For me, this was the last big jump that I ever played. The first time I played this was at South Sea Pier again. I can remember people queuing to play this game. And my penultimate entry, Time Pilot, came to the arcade in 1982 and was developed by Konami. This will always stick out in my mind. It has a spiritual successor in an honorary mention on this list, Rogue Aces. I only ever found one place to play this game. Brother Miles and myself used to spend summers in Portsmouth. There was a local newsagent that sold Amstrad CPC budget games, and we got about £2.50 a week. So a game and 5 goes on this game for me every single week. And my number 1, Super Stardust HD, came to the PlayStation 3 in 2007 and was developed by Housemarque. Instantly recognisable as a spiritual successor to Asteroids, graphically pleasing but also one hell of a shooter. A world ranking system with upgradable weapons and even a VR version of the game. Bosses are not to be sniffed at. If you go with normal or above difficulty setting, the game continues on till you run out of lives. I played this for the PlayStation 3 for the first time on day of release, and man was it improved for the PlayStation 4. And it's done. I hope you all enjoyed this top 10. There's plenty more content like this on my channel. Check it out, and if you would, spread the word. Leave any suggestions down below in the comments. Enjoy your day one and all. This has been Old School Gamer 1971 signing off.